Well, I'm here in Pasco at the Tri-City Sports Show. I'm down here visiting with a lot of people that I see, many of them just once a year when I visit this particular show. And I plan to have a series of people on this show today talking about a whole range of things. I've got people that are presenting seminars. Some of these people you may have already seen on my TV shows, like Anton Jones from Lake Chelan. And here's a familiar face that I saw when I walked in. One of the first people I saw at the show is Jack Walker, and you may remember him from a other TV show that we did on fishing at Curlew Lake, and also a great cooking show. And boy, when I saw Jack, I said, here's somebody that can give people some good advice about catching trout in the early season when the water temperatures are still pretty cold.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yes.
And in the spring up there, if you like to fish in the colder weather, why, we do a lot of topwater fishing, and I pull a lot of rapalas.
Okay.
And you just have to try the colors, because from one year to the next, sometimes they will vary.
Yeah.
So I work several different colors, and I usually use the number 5, the floaters, because they work better. And they'll sink about 3 to 4 feet underwater, troll them back about 60 to 70 feet, and I troll quite slow, and you find that you'll get a lot of good action.
And that keep them in that top 3 or 4 feet of water.
In that top 4 feet of water. Now a little later on, then we do some downrigging, but early April and early May, it works really good topwater fishing, as we call it. And then we do use a martin, and I have a lot of different colors, and I've tried several. And every year I rotate around and do a little experimenting work. And the red one seems to do more producing fish. And I do them with anywhere from 2 to 3 colors on leaded line. And you just have to kind of feel it out, because like I say, every year it's a little different. And it works quite well, especially in the early season when the water's cold. And we troll that with leaded line with about a 25-foot leader. And it seems to work quite well, and we do get some big fish off of that. A little later on, we have to change as the weather gets warmer, and then we do downrigging, and we go deeper with the leaded lines. But in the spring, the top water fishing is quite well.
Keep it shallow.
Keep it shallower than what you would normally. And then if you got a boat with a canvas top and that way, put a heater in it, because I tell you, it does get cold up there. That's a little advice. I've had experience, and a heater is welcome, because it's quite cold in the spring.
Lake in the spring.
But if you like to fish, you'll find out it's worth it.
Yes. And beautiful rainbow up
beautiful
there.
Rainbow. There is some nice ones, and we get some big ones. You get them anywhere from probably 18 inches to 24. Some years it's a little better than others, but that's the way it goes in any lake. You'll find, and I know some years I go up there and I fish it a lot. Spend 5-6 months up there all year, and
yes.
I do a lot of experimenting in the spring, and I do a lot of experimenting during the summer as the weather changes.
And Jack has been fishing Curlew Lake for 5 months of the year for over 20 years.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time up there. So,
Yes,
and another thing, if anybody that comes up there and look me up, and I'll certainly be glad to help you and show you what to use and how deep to go. And
that's right. You're always open and welcome to answer questions.
If you don't know, I'm even willing to take you out on my boat and
that's great.
Show
and
you
you'll
how
find
to
him
work it.
Always hanging out at Tiffany's Resort there on Curlew Lake. Now, one of the things you mentioned, that you like rapalas, and I do too. They're one of my favorite lures. But also, you always tie that special knot.
Well, you have to tie that. A lot of people will hook the rapalas. I call them rapalas, but I know the name is rapala.
Yeah.
But they tie them up with or they'll just tie them down to the ring, or they'll take a snap swivel and hook it on there. Well, they won't work right, and I guarantee you won't catch the fish. You have to tie that rapala knot in there, and you got to have that loop so that fish will wiggle good. and give you plenty of action. And troll them not too fast, because it's just like anything else. You over pull it and you wiggle it too fast, then you don't get the right action.
Exactly.
It's like a flatfish. You don't want to pull him too fast. You want him to jack up a little bit and wiggle slow, and you'll do better. If you wiggle him too fast, the fish just seem to know that it's not right.
Exactly.
And so,
But tie that loop and you'll have much better success.
you'll catch 3-4 times as many fish. If you don't tie it, you're going to have a slow go. But the spring fishing at Curlew in April and May is probably going to be your best fishing that you'll have. It's cold, but it's well worth it if you like to fish.
That's great. Well, Jack Walker, thank you very much for taking the time and sharing some of your insights. Over 20 years of experience fishing at Curlew Lake. And thanks again, Jack, for taking the time. I'll be checking in on you later this year up at Tiffany's Resort.
Well, I hope you're doing it. It's nice to be with you again. I really appreciate seeing you. Thank you.
No one is happy about having to repair a vehicle after an accident. However, I was very happy when I chose First Choice Collision Center when I needed this service. I can't say enough about how they treated me. Fast and friendly just doesn't say enough. They have amazing technology to make a damaged vehicle look like new. At First Choice Collision Center, you can expect modern service with old-fashioned values. That was my experience, and I'm sure it will be yours too.
No matter where anglers are heading, whether it's Banks Lake, Lake Roosevelt, or Rufus Woods Reservoir, they all make the same stop. That's at Big Wally's in Coulee City. Here they find everything they need for a successful day on the water: fuel, ice, a tackle shop, and people who know what they're selling behind the counter, state and tribal licenses, even a hot breakfast or lunch. When you're on the go, don't forget to stop at Big Wally's and visit their website at bigwallysfishing.com.
Hooked on Toys!
Anglers are shifting gears and focusing on our popular winter fisheries, with Rufus Woods Reservoir at the top of the list. Whether you're after big triploid rainbow from a boat or the shore, Hooked on Toys in Wenatchee has everything you need to do battle with these prized trout. From power bait to trolling lures, Hooked on Toys has the biggest selection you'll find anywhere. Stock up for winter fishing fun at Hooked on Toys in Wenatchee, located at 1444 North Wenatchee Avenue, or online at hookedontoys.com.
Hooked on Toys!
I'm here with Doug Malsom. He and Lynn are the owners of Tiffany's Resort, and they have just been terrific with us over the years we've visited with them. They have a wonderful place here. The families from all over come and enjoy all summer long, starting as early May, late April, whenever the ice comes off of Curlew. And I wanted Doug to share a little information about a special program they have going here that keeps a good population of rainbow in Curlew Lake.
The Curlew Lake Association, and working with Fish and Wildlife, have the net pens. The Lake Association provides the pens and nets and all the huge amount of labor that goes into keeping them going through the course of the year.
Sure.
And the Fish and Wildlife provide the fish, the food, and expertise if things don't always go quite perfectly. So.
Right. And so you actually feed the fish and keep an eye on it and make sure they're surviving well.
Everything's going well, yeah. They're just getting ready. The fish will be coming next Wednesday.
Okay.
They're going to bring somewhere between 60 and 80,000 fingerlings. They're about 2 inches when they bring them.
Okay.
Here, and by October, the end of October, when they release them, they'll average about 8 to 9 inches.
Okay, so that's when they're released, is the end of October. And I understand that when they're released, they're wearing a little tag that gives people an incentive to help participate with that program.
Yeah, it's called the Research Rewards Program, and we tag, it depends on how many donations we get through the course of the year.
Sure.
But last year there were 250 of the net pen fish were tagged for release. As they tag them, they weigh them and measure them. And when a fisherman catches one of those, they bring them into us unclean,
Okay.
and we weigh and measure them again and clip the tag. Each tag is numbered and it has a random dollar denomination assigned to it.
All right.
This year they're anywhere from $10 to $100 per tag. There's still a $500 tag from last year swimming around out there somewhere.
Oh boy, yeah.
And it's not a fishing derby. You don't have to sign up for it or anything. You just have to go out and catch a tag fish and bring it in. We collect that data, and then at the end of the year we submit it to Fish and Wildlife, and they are able to use that for growth studies on the lake.
That's a terrific, what a great program. So I wanted to remind people, I'm glad that Doug was able to explain it, so that when you do catch a tag fish here at Curlew Lake, it's worth some dollars, but also the information is very valuable. And I encourage you, if you catch a tag fish, be sure to bring it to Tiffany's uncleaned so they can get the vital statistics on that tag. Doug, thanks so much, and I'm glad that you've got that program going, and it's wonderful. It really helps the lake and the people that enjoy fishing Curlew Lake.
Thank you, Dave.
Honey, you are not gonna believe this. I bought Pepsi Next.
What's Pepsi Next?
It's the new cola from Pepsi. It's got real cola taste, but 60% less sugar.
Real cola taste. 60% less sugar.
Yeah. I know.
It's unbelievable.
But this is the most impressive thing I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Oh, definitely. Let me get a camera. I've never had anything like it. My parents are gonna.
Yeah, they're gonna be so proud.
Introducing Pepsi Next. Drink it to believe it.
Are you getting this, honey? It's going viral.
This is Dave Graybill, the Fishin Magician, and when I fish the Upper Columbia and the Madhow Rivers for steelhead, I stay at the Lake Pateros Inn. I can tie my boat right up out front and be minutes from the action. The famous Miller Hole on the Madhow is less than 2 miles away. The rooms are comfortable and surprisingly affordable, and I'll be making the Lake Pateros Inn my base camp. To learn how to book your room at the Lake Pateros Inn, log on to lakepaterosmotorin.com or call 866-444-1985.
Your town Ford is kicking off the season with the best deals of the year. It's the Built Ford Tough Truck event. Great power and amazing fuel economy means no compromises. And that's what you get in a truck built Ford Tough, like the Ford F-150 with a powerful and efficient EcoBoost engine. The power you want and the economy you need. Or Ford Super Duty with its amazing 6.7-liter Power Stroke turbo diesel. If you're looking for power, payload, towing economy, your town Ford's got the truck for you. Head to your town Ford in East Wenatchee.
I was very happy to see Johnny Boitano from Troutwater at the show this year too, because one of my favorite fishing experiences in this entire region I took with one of his associates a couple of years ago, Jim Gallagher, on the upper Yakima River. And that was fantastic experience, and we caught some of the best. Well, one of the rainbow was 24 inches, and that trip we took in very late March or early April. I'm trying to remember, but the conditions are not what you expect for early season trout fishing, that's for sure. But Johnny, even though the conditions are not exactly for your fair weather fishermen, it was well worth the effort, and you do catch an excellent rainbow in the early season on the Yakima.
You can catch some great fish in the early season, and you can get some good weather. I mean, a lot of times early February, we usually get a 2-week window where we think winter's over, and we're like, okay, spring's ready, it's coming around the corner, and you get 2 weeks of nice weather, and then all of a sudden March hits again, and you get pounded like you probably experienced. Tons of rain, you know, blowing sideways. But the fishing can be incredible. You see some of those fish that are just coming off kind of their winter hibernation and starting to actively feed. You're in the upper part of the Yakima where it doesn't get as much pressure. Over the last few years, we're starting to see more and more people come up there and experience that. And so, yeah, you can get some nice fish.
Absolutely, and you know, we had snow, we had rain, we had a mix of every kind of weather. We also went over 5 log jams, 2 of which we had to completely unload the boat, do it. So it was really a great experience. It was a mini expedition that day to get to those really prime rainbow. And I'd do it again in a minute. I'll tell you, it was
No,
fabulous.
the stretch that you guys did is a fabulous stretch, but you don't have to go up and do, the crazy, get out of the boat, hike over 5 log jams kind of a stretch. I mean, you can go down, even up in the upper river from like South Clallam down, there's not a lot of log jams, and you're still going to get that good fishing in the spring.
Oh, there's some great water.
And
from
even
Clallam
down, through the farmlands and down in the lower canyon, there's some great fishing down there. And I just went blank on the train of thought. But you also get those days too in the spring that are not so hot too.
Oh yeah, and you're always running a risk of the river blowing out and muddy water and those types of things too. But now, if to take full advantage, say you got a great day where it's cold, maybe clear or even overcast, maybe even a little bit of rain. What are the tactics you use to attract a strike from those big rainbow?
A lot of stuff that we do in the upper river and even down into the lower part of the rivers, we'll do a lot of streamer fishing early spring. Some stripping methods, some kind of classic steelhead, swings where you're casting out, quartering across. Depends on water temperature and how active the fish are. Time of day too. We're trying to fish our flies slow, early morning, late afternoon, putting a little bit more movement on during the middle of the day once they're getting a little bit more active. We also do a lot of nymphing. I mean, nymphing's real popular throughout the year, but a lot of times small flies, those cold days,
Sure.
early morning.
Under an indicator and just slow drifting through. Now, just for people that say, man, I want to try to do this experience, give me some patterns that would be good starters for them to experiment.
So early season, everybody's heard about the squallows, which is a stonefly that comes off. Everybody starts talking about it mid-February when we get that window of kind of nice weather. We're like, oh, the squallows are out. Well, we don't really actually start seeing squallows until about March 15th. I would say, where you can actually count on getting some fish, eating dries and stuff. But those stones are migrating in the riverbed, early February. So, stoneflies, you get a lot of midge action. So you have a lot of little chronomid type of patterns, 18s, 20s, little pheasant tails. A lot of blue wings will start showing up into March. All of it's weather dependent. And then the big famous March brown hatch, which last year was a good hatch, but it didn't come up until May because of the different weather patterns. And so it was kind of one of those crazy years.
Exactly. But that gives people a good idea to have in their arsenal because, my goodness, in the last 3 years, we haven't seen a consistent season yet. We've had extremely high water. We've had low water. We've had everything in between in the early spring. But I suppose one of the things that would be a constant, because the river temperature is going to be fairly constant, whether it's high or low, during that period of the year, is to know that you're going to be fishing slow in the mornings because those fish aren't going to be real active. And I'm surprised at how small some of these patterns are that work at that time of year too.
Well, it's all relative size. I mean, those fish are in the rivers, feeding, and what's their active food source is midges that time of year, and that's 18s, 22s, and it does make a big difference that time of year. Going from a size 16 to a size 20, you will definitely catch fish. And I'm not saying one day they might be on a size 16, but the next day, they might be really keyed in on that size 20 in that same pattern.
Sure.
And so being, not afraid to switch it up and put on a little bit smaller. And it's hard for people to imagine a size 20 hooking a 20-inch rainbow. But that's what they feed on.
Exactly. So give them what they want, they're going to eat it.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to fishing the rivers much earlier than I'm used to, because after my experience on the upper Yakima River for big rainbow.
The goal of Battery Systems is to provide the best products combined with the most efficient service at competitive prices. I've found their people live up to this, so don't buy anything without talking to them. You should make their batteries and accessories your choice to power your vehicles and boats. This is Dave Graybill, and I choose Battery Systems to keep me running onshore and on the water. To find a Battery Systems product expert in a location near you, log on to batterysystems.net.
Boating is something the whole family can enjoy, and it's surprising how affordable a new boat can be from Bob File Boats and Motors. Stop in today and take a look at the largest selection of boats in North Central Washington, including top names, Bayliner and Tahoe. Bob File Boats and Motors can help you find that boat that fits your needs. And whether it's for fishing or just a ride on the water, you can be sure your new boat will provide hours of fun for years to come. Visit the boating experts today. Bob File Boats and Motors on the Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee, the place to buy a boat.
I'd like to introduce to you Carl Johnson, whom I've known now for many years through Salmon Fest and some other activities related to fly fishing. And you are the president of
the Washington Council, Washington State Council of the Federation of Fly Fishers.
I told Carl he was going to have to do it because I knew I would mess it up. Good job.
There are approximately 15 councils in the country. Washington's big enough to have their own.
That's great. There's a lot of people pursuing that particular sport here in our region. And your group does a lot of good work too that many people aren't aware of. One of the ways that people can learn a lot about, not just what the Federation does here in our region, but all about different aspects of fly fishing, is an event that takes place in Ellensburg every year and is coming up this year in May.
Yes.
That is the Federation's Fly Fishing Fair.
The national goes by Fly Fishing Fair also, so we are the Washington Fly Fishing Fair in Ellensburg, May 4th and 5th this year.
That's right. And I actually have reservations. I'm not going to miss this one. My wife and I are going to attend, as will her sister and her husband, and there's a specific reason that we're going to be there.
Her grandfather?
That's correct.
Is a very famous fly tyer by the name of Sid Glasso, and he's been nominated to be inducted into our Fly Tying Hall of Fame this year.
And it's a great honor for us just to be in attendance, just to witness that event. Sid was a tremendous, internationally famous for his salmon fly patterns.
And particularly the spay flies,
spay flies. You know, we are the proud owner of several of his flies, and they are very, very cherished in our family. And that, it's interesting, one of the things when my wife's father found out that we were getting together, his wedding gift to us, in addition to a wonderful fly reel, was a couple of Sid's patterns. And those are something that we're going to, as I say, cherish and pass on through our family. But that's just one aspect, and that'll happen at the dinner.
That'll happen at the dinner Saturday night. It's a 2-day event, Friday and Saturday. We run approximately 50 tables of fly tyers on 3-hour sessions, so 2 on Friday, 3 on Saturday. All told, will be over 100 people demonstrating their fly tying abilities. And we will have a number of, the Northwest is blessed with a lot of fly tyers that are just absolutely wonderful. We will have a number of them there, including some that have won the Federation of Fly Fishers Highest Tying Award, the Busick Award, including John Newberry out of Chewelah, Washington, which is the second Washington recipient ever to receive the award. Al Beatty out of Boise has already committed to be there, and I hope Henry Hoffman out of Oregon makes it. He's made it the other years, but just there are some wonderful tyers.
Big names in fly tying, absolutely.
In addition, this year we are blessed Saturday afternoon. Steve Rajeff is going to do a casting demonstration. If anybody wants to see how to cast, that is, you can't miss that one. That is wonderful.
Steve Rajeff has been a huge name in fly casting for 30 years.
I think he's won every award that you can win.
Absolutely,
every competition that you can win over the
I've had the great pleasure of meeting him many years ago and learning how he started casting off the piers in San Francisco and went from there to be a world international champion.
I've seen him do a demonstration, and he demonstrated a tailing loop that at least now I understand what I'm doing wrong.
Well, those are just the fly casting, the fly tying. There's a whole list of things.
We run free seminars, 1-hour seminars throughout both days. We have a number of workshops. There's a beginning fly fishing workshop this year and some other casting, and actually we've got a couple water safety workshops this year also, which
tremendous.
We'll see on that. So.
Yeah.
And then it ends with our awards banquet and auction Saturday night, and it is our fundraiser, and well, it's a fun event. This is how we support ourselves.
That's right. Now, if people wanted to learn more about it, I know that a real easy way to find out a full description of the event, the cost of the banquet, and what's going to happen there can be found on your website.
That's correct. And if you're going to ask me for it, I'm going to. It's if you search for Washington Council FFF, you'll find it, but I'm not sure the exact. I know certain things are abbreviated and others aren't, and I don't remember it off the top of my head.
I'll make it real easy for everyone. Go to fishingmagician.com, click on the links page, and you'll find a link to their website through fishingmagician.com. Just look for FFF, Washington FFF. It'll be there. Just click through, and they do an excellent job of sharing that information. And I believe you can even register online.
Yes, we have registration online also. The other thing I want to mention, Washington is blessed this year. The International Fly Fishing Fair, the one that the Federation hosts, will be in Spokane in July.
Another terrific event. And again, you'll be able to get the details as easy as going to fishingmagician.com and going to my links. Well, another person that I just happened to run into here at the show in Pasco, the Tri-City Sportsman Show, is Anton Jones. Now, he should be a familiar face as well. In fact, he is on we did something with Anton on fishing for big lake trout on Lake Chelan here recently. And now what we're talking about is Rufus Woods Reservoir. It caught my eye when I got the seminar schedule. I saw that you're doing the latest, what's the latest word on Rufus Woods Reservoir?
Yep, and what we've emphasized talking about there is some micro jigging technique mixed with good old-fashioned slip, sinker, and bait is kind of the latest.
Oh, okay.
The latest pieces.
Right. Now I know that a lot of people from one end of the reservoir to the other are happy to just use a slip sinker and a big gob of power bait, or sometimes a marshmallow and shrimp, different combinations like that. But you're starting to experiment more with using jigs, is that right?
Yeah. What we've found is that a lot of times to get the biggest concentrations of fish, I mean, you can get fish all through the reservoir, but the biggest concentrations obviously are around where the most food is, which is, yep, right around the net pens.
That's right.
So we go up the net pens, and like a lot of people, we've gone up and you know, tied up and fished with bait. And the things that we might do a little bit different there are a little longer leader, maybe a little bit bigger hook, bigger gob, and some of the new flavors of the dough baits that are coming out are good. But what we found to get people doing some catch and release work doesn't always work. Like a lot of things up there, something will work one day and not the next, and that sort of thing. But fishing smaller jigs from a 16th ounce all the way down to a 64th.
Yes.
Jigging them vertically. Sometimes, whenever the fish are active, you can jig them with. You can be watching your jig and watch one of those big triploids grab that jig.
Just that shallow.
That makes sophisticated fishermen squeal like a little kid. and then work your way all the way down through the water column. And if you're fishing there close to the pens, you know those outer edges are maybe 75 to as much as 95 feet down.
Yeah.
And we're fishing all the way up and down the water column trying to find fish that'll bite. And when it's on, I mean, sometimes it can be a right at one, right after another kind of phenomenon. And what we've found is on tough days, some days bait will work better, and some days the jigs will work better than bait on tough days. So and they work together pretty well. You can do both of them from a stationary boat really nicely.
Sure. Well, and then the advantage being is if you're using those jigs, then you can catch and release, which is a very nice feature about using that type of technique. Now, when you're using those down to as small as 1/64, you must be using a fairly light leader.
Right, that's all. At the upper end 1/16, you can probably fish 8-pound test, but usually we're going to fish 6 or 4, and then with those really tiny ones, you're going to have to go to 2. Which
oh my goodness,
that you can imagine,
I've got to see.
That turns it into a really interesting proposition if you get you know, even a typical triploid, 3 or 4 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Is a real challenge on that. To get a bigger fish that might go 8 or better is just
Well,
hilarious.
in fact, I remember the last time we were up there, we were using bait, but hooked up very nice fish, and I believe you only had 6-pound test on at that time, and that took a while to get that fish up to the boat.
Yep, they, I mean, whenever you're fishing with light gear, they can be very, very sporting. Yep.
Absolutely. Now, have you found any particular color patterns work, or?
Well, bright colors, typically whenever you're on a dark day, and darker colors on a bright day. And then we like, one of our guides that hand ties most of those likes to paint an eye in them. So, so that works pretty well. And
now, are these primarily marabous?
I was going to say, we've primarily gone to marabou. You know, chenille and grub bodies and all that will kind of work, but marabou seems to work best of all, so that's what we stick with mostly.
Okay.
Dark marabou.
Dark marabou, and then do you incorporate some little twinkle flash into the tail as well?
A lot of times, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of flashabou and that sort of thing.
Yeah, those types of materials, it seems to me, my experience, and I don't have as much as yours, but I've found to have that little bit of flash incorporated into the jig, especially with the marabou that gives us some action, any kind of current or anything is going to make that tail move, and having that little bit of flash incorporated into it seems to make a difference. Now, have you tried that method? I know that you focus on the lower net pens because it's the first one you get to. Have you tried it other areas in the reservoir?
Yes, and I mean you can work at drifting, and particularly down around the pump stations, the first 3 pump stations at the lower end, and off the bend coming from the Rocky Flats campground is another area. Is pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, that is a new twist. I really appreciate that kind of input. I mean, that's one of the reasons they've got Anton down here doing the seminars, because he gives up-to-date current information based on direct experience. And in this case, it's about catching triploid rainbow trout on Rufus Woods, and now incorporating even micro jigs into his approach to catching big fish on Rufus Woods Reservoir. Thanks for taking the time, Anton.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Today we're on Rufus Woods Reservoir. This has gained a huge reputation for huge triploid rainbow trout, and we're with the crew. This is Andy Bird. He's with Daryl and Dad's Guide Service based out of Manson, Washington. They fish for a variety of species here in central Washington, but today we are in search of big triploid rainbow trout. Along with us is Bobby Loomis. He's with Max Lure, and we're probably going to try out a few of your secret weapons that you've developed specifically for triploid rainbow trout fishing.
That we are.
That's exciting, boy. We've got a real pro with us. Andy's been catching fish up here for years, and I'm terribly excited to be out on Rufus Woods in search of triploid rainbow here in January. Many people don't realize, but 3 of the last 4 state records for rainbow trout have been set right here on Rufus Woods Reservoir. And this record stands right now at 29 pounds, 6 ounces. So we're going to see what we can do about setting a new bar today on Rufus Woods Reservoir. I'm with Anton Jones now. He's actually the owner of Daryl and Dad's Guide Service and Daryl and Dad's Family Guide Service. Let me get that correct.
Thanks, Dave.
And he mentioned that there are some special rules, and for good reason, here on Rufus Woods Reservoir.
Okay, so what we're going to be doing is fishing with bait with slip sinker rigs. And the rule here is a 2-fish limit, and any fish that you catch with bait counts towards your 2-fish limit. If you want to release those 2 fish, well, that's okay, although you should never release a fish that's been seriously hurt. Anything that attracts fish by flavor or scent is considered to be bait in the state of Washington. That was one of the big enforcement rules they had here, is people, of course, wanting to catch that huge trophy fish. So when lots of fish were available, they were releasing bait-caught fish and not counting towards our 2-fish limit, and there were lots of tickets written and lots of hard feelings between anglers and the enforcement guys. So we want to be really cognizant of that and make sure that all these fish that we get to the net that are caught on bait count towards each of our 2-fish limits.
Absolutely, yes. There was some terrible abuse going on up here at Rufus Woods Reservoir. And thank you for reminding people. And that's a standard rule in Washington State. If you use bait, you must keep the fish that you catch, or if they are caught in the eye, tongue, or gill. And those count toward your limit. Thank you very much for reminding everybody about that here in Rufus Woods.
Hey, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about was the rationale behind those regulations. This fishery is a cooperative venture between the Colville tribe and the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. So they've negotiated, so the Colville tribe pays the commercial net pen operation here to release about 2,500 fish a month, or about 30,000 fish a year. So by instituting a 2-fish limit, everybody gets enough fish to enjoy a meal or two, and it's a big fish, geez, 4, 5, 6 meals out of these wonderful tasting fish. But yet, if you're limited to 2 fish, that resource is spread so a lot of different people can benefit from it, and it gets spread around the calendar year. And if we limit how many fish we take when the fishing's hot, some of these fish get to grow and get to be those monsters, those ones everybody wants to get, those teens, 20s, and hopefully someday that 30-pound fish. Keep those just light taps. I mean, it's really subtle feel to it compared to what you might be used to. Okay. Okay.
So do you think, Anton, that has something to do with the cold water, you know, that time of year? They're not really aggressively attacking baits, like you say. They're down near the bottom where the warmest layer is, and they're just sort of nibbling at these baits, as you said.
Right, and also the type, when you think of what the fish are and what they're not like a Girard rainbow from Kootenai or Ponderay that's slashing at kokanee to feed himself, chasing food down, you know. They're just like a hog in the trough. They're just licking those pellets up and eating little tiny things. I mean, if it's not pellets, they're eating bugs and little crustaceans, and so they're just sipping. They're not gulping, even though they're pigs. They're used to the food being delivered to them on a conveyor belt, and we're just trying to imitate that or make it look like, oh, that looks like a better big nugget there than what they get out of the pens.
Yeah, easy pickings.
We'll see.
Sorry. That's okay. Cowboy Bobby. Wow,
hey, what do you know?
Photogenic there, didn't you?
Hey, first fish.
I don't think it's 29.5 pounds. Still a nice fish.
See anything yet?
Yep, there he is. It's a good 15 pounds. Hand me the net.
There you go.
Oh, damn.
Oh boy, that's a nice fish.
Oh, damn.
Okay, same thing. Now lift again. Easy does it, sis. Oh, burp. He's getting tired now. You might have one. Okay, down. Reel down. Now lift up one more time. See if we can turn his head. Okay, easy. Easy. Reel down. Nope, he's gonna go. That's all right. Just relax. Let him go. Let him go. Don't try stopping him. Okay. Let him go. Don't crank against him when he's doing it. Just take it nice and easy. Now, your turn. Your turn. And turn it. There you go. That's when you want to come. When he was kind of losing it there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's straightened out.
A little more. One more. Lift his head once. Lift him. There you go.
Oh baby.
That's a nice fish.
Ah. Nice.
10 pounds.
Good one?
Oh,
yeah. Like a friggin' salmon.
Now that's fun on ultralight.
That is fun.
That's a slab.
Hey Dino,
Don't step
pull some line off the reel. So it. There you go.
You're okay.
Good job.
We got it in the boat. That's all I care about. Way to go.
That's
Yeah,
good
job. Good job,
That's
Andy.
your uncle's or your cousin's reel here. I like this. What a firefight.
Nice fish.
Anton, that was a beautiful day on Rufus Woods, and what a nice stringer of fish there.
Yeah, it was. I think that fishing overall was a little slower than what we're used to, but we had a good time. It was a beautiful day. We caught some fish, and we got one really nice one.
Absolutely. Boy, you and Andy know your way around up here. It was a great experience just getting out in the water. We saw a lot of wildlife, and it's just a beautiful day to experience winter fishing on Rufus Woods, and some great examples of the types of triploids that people can expect to catch up here in Rufus Woods Reservoir here in Okanogan County.